Hello and welcome. If this is your first time looking at this channel, or if you're a regular viewer, I have two messages to share with you. Message number one. And here's message number two. There. So now that we got that out of the way, we shall begin with the post-National Train Day update video of 2024. In this video, I will show you all of the train-related items that I got for my birthday and National Train Day. And I do it this way every year because, well, my birthday and National Train Day are very close to each other on the calendar. So I combine the two. And so as you just saw, I got two train meme t-shirts, like the one I'm wearing now and the one you just saw in the last clip. I also got this Chessie System trucker hat, all of which are very nice, and I'm glad that I have them. And the next item I got for my birthday that was train related is this Train Spotters journal, and the book itself is a very nice hardcover book. It's actually in British English. In fact, here are some samples of the pages to this book of what it looks like. So a lot of the terminology and railroading vocabulary is in British English, as you can see here. And I even filled out some of the pages in it with some of the trains I've seen after getting this book for the first time. And it was actually a lot of fun to fill out those entries, I must say. It was really cool. So now in the next part of this video, we're going to go to the table, and I will show you the rest of the items that I got for my birthday and for National Train Day of 2024. So we'll take a look at that right now. Alright, so here we are at the table, and I put the camera over here this time because for these items it's just easier to show them when I have them resting on the table. So the first item that we're looking at is this DVD by Trains Magazine called Amtrak, Connecting America by Rail. This came out fairly recently, in 2023 or so, and this DVD tells the story of Amtrak's history from 1971 to 2023. And it's a very well put together DVD, very inspiring DVD. It has lots of footage of each train that Amtrak has, showing scenes along each of the routes that those trains serves, and offers a lot of travel tips as well. So this video actually comes in very handy when planning a trip that's on Amtrak. I found it to be very informative and even inspiring, and it can be that way as well. There's lots of color footage and lots of footage in HD quality, and there's also almost 20 minutes of bonus footage included, which also has tips on how to get the most out of your Amtrak trips. The only downside I could find with this DVD is that, like all the other Trains Magazine DVDs, the Trains Magazine watermark appears in the bottom right corner whenever you watch it. But other than that, though, it's a really nice production, and Trains did an excellent job putting this together. So that's this item, and we'll move on to the next one, which is this Lionel Hallmark ornament set. This is of the Lionel Norfolk and Western J-Class, number 746. The actual model came out in 1957 originally, and it was based on the Norfolk and Western J-Class, a very nice model of it for its time. And one innovative feature with this locomotive was that it was Lionel's first steam locomotive that only ran on fluid smoke. It did not take smoke pellets. This was actually the first model of that. And with the tender on the locomotive, which you can see over here, with the tender, The common version of the 746 has an error on the tender when compared to the real thing, where the red stripe does not go across the whole tender. Lionel did make another variation of the 746 where it is correct, like you see here, with the red stripe going across the whole length of the tender. So this Hallmark ornament is a replica of the more rare version of the Lionel 746 steam locomotive. And one error that Hallmark made for this ornament set is on the tender, where it has 12 wheels instead of 8, because the 746 came with an 8-wheeled tender, not a 12-wheeled tender. So there was a little bit of a mix-up there with realism, both on Lionel's part as well as Hallmark's part. So we'll take them out of the box here. We'll start off with the locomotive first. Also comes with this little piece of cardboard with this advertisement for Great American Railways. And here's the locomotive. The wheels do turn, which is very nice. Might be hard to see in the camera, but it does have a detailed cab interior. And back to the front. So there's the locomotive, and we'll unbox the tender. There's the tender. Up close. And as you can see with the tender as well, when Lionel made the 746 originally, they used the Pennsylvania Railroad style tender, where it has the water scoop, which the Norfolk and Western did not have on their locomotives. And it also has rivets on the tender, where the J classes on the Norfolk and Western in the real world had welded tenders, so they did not have rivets all over their bodies like you see here. And here's the locomotive and tender together. And it's a very nice piece. Very nice indeed. So that's all of the train-related items that I got for my birthday of 2024. Now we'll look at the items that I got for National Train Day of 2024. I'll show you that right now. So for the actual date of National Train Day, which is May 10th, I went to Niantic, Connecticut, and did some train watching there. I have a video of my train watching that I did there that day. And in that town, they have a used bookstore chain called the Book Barn. And they have books of all kinds for sale there, including books on trains and railroading. So when I went there, I bought this book called The Cars of the Pennsylvania Railroad. This is the front, and here's the back. This book has all the types of rail cars that the Pennsylvania Railroad had, a lot of the typical ones, such as the P-70 coaches and the N5C cabooses. And then they show some pretty unusual cars that they had, like the clearance cars, as well as the massive depressed center flat car, which had trucks from the T1 tenders, things like that, are all shown here. And there's also some photos of the self-propelled cars that they had, whether they were electric or internal combustion. Those are also seen here. This is by Wayne Publications, and it's a real easy read and a small book, but it has lots of great photos in it. All the photos are in black and white, and every page has captions of what's in those photos. So it's a real photo album type book, but it does have some interesting information about the cars of the Pennsylvania Railroad throughout their life, all the way up to the 1960s, actually. So that's all shown here in this book. So that's not all that I got for National Train Day of 2024. I also bought a Train Simulator Classic 2024 DLC, and we will take a look at that right now. Okay, so now we're looking at the Train Simulator Classic 2024 DLC that I bought on National Train Day of 2024. This is the CSX GE AC6000CW train set DLC by Dovetail Games. This includes the CSX GE AC6000 CW diesel locomotives, crew and non-crew versions of them. There are also CSX ballast hoppers, CSX 2-bay covered hoppers, and CSX 3-bay covered hoppers, with each freight car including loaded and unloaded versions of them. And there are 3 career mode scenarios for the Miami to West Palm Beach route. Now we move on to the pros, advantages, and strengths of this DLC. The locomotives have the TSX features such as headlights that cast light on the surrounding environment and rain on the windows when it rains or snows. The headlights are also dimmable. The locomotives have working alerters and cab signaling. Computer screens show some, but not all, locomotive information. Most of the controls on the locomotives animate, and they animate properly. And they also have notched throttles. All of the locomotives and cars have customizable numbers. The locomotives have flashing ditch lights, which is appropriate for CSX. Most of the sounds are prototypical, however, the sound of the bell is not. The last car in the consist will have an end-of-train device light put on the end of it when the locomotive's headlights are turned on. The windows and front door can be opened and closed on the locomotives, and the sounds will become less muffled when they are open. Achievements are included, and the freight cars have animated roller bearings. Now we move on to the cons, goofs, and nitpicks of this DLC. The locomotives don't have the realistic braking physics for Train Simulator Classic 2024. The locomotive brake cannot be bailed off. The cab signaling does not work properly on Miami to West Palm Beach. It only works on a few routes, mainly the Metro North routes that Dovetail Games made, such as the Hudson Line and New York to New Haven. If the cab signaling is enabled on Miami to West Palm Beach, or any route that lacks the Metro North type signaling, the alerter will go off loudly when the locomotive goes faster than 15 miles an hour. The snowplow, or if you're from Florida, you might call this a gator plow, is too short to be realistic on the locomotives. The air hoses are always disconnected between the included locomotives and freight cars. And only the generic CSX YN2 livery is included for the AC6000CW. The Diversity in Motion, Spirit of Cumberland, and Spirit of West Virginia variants, for example, are not included. So this concludes this year's post-National Train Day Update video. Thank you very much for watching. Special thanks goes to my current Patreon supporters. Your names are listed here. And stay tuned, because for the next 12 months or so, I have some exciting videos planned that I'll be uploading here on my channel. So thank you very much for watching. Take care,